Good afternoon. A little bit of update, some updates. I can't say that I'm optimistic, but what's new? I should say that I should mention something which is I categorize it under the category of peculiar. Or under like why are humans? Why do humans behave in a more primitive way than they did like 50,000 years ago or 100,000 years ago? Like, you know that Israelis, they surround me all the time, of course here as well, and I have nowhere to go. I'm in house arrest. For the Twitter, that maybe you, I guess my loyal subscribers surely, are familiar with, and they always, Israel is always, the Shabak and the affiliated scumbags always produce noise. Especially when they wanted to stop do something, but in all other occasions they do as well. And I understood, quite a while ago that, when I produce the curses, the symbolic things that they also function, but they are symbolic. They symbolize like a curse on earth. They do. All a ton of noise. For presumably so I will be afraid and stop it. And this kind of thought, was primitive, even like compared to the standard of humans 100,000 years ago. I don't know if I feel embarrassed to even explain why. Like this. God is punishing you, not me. I am doing symbolic things, actions, so you will have. So you can make it a connection between the actions that you see and like things that God is like doing. Like God sends the asteroids, but I show you symbolic representation, artistic representation of asteroids, so you can, it's a way for you to perhaps give more, credit to what I say, even though, if you were not, barbaric Nazis, you wouldn't even need it, because I'm not saying like, I'm not like telling you, I'm not saying anything like, really, I don't tell you, be that kind of like Christian, or be Shia. You adopt the Shia and not the Sunnah, or Buddhism. You should adapt Buddhism, or that particular kind of Judaism, or whatever. Or I only tell you. I even don't tell you. I even tell you that it's not that. It's not the most important thing in the world for God that you will even believe in God, even though it's very important and belief is supremely important. In order to, because of many reasons. First of all, because it's true. God created the world, and you should be grateful for Him, because it's because of Him that you have anything that you have, whoever you are. And also, and I've seen it in my own life, like very, in very broad way, that when like a society of people systematically, denounce God, they tend to act in the most like without limits, in the most like horrible and like cruel and evil ways. It's not always true for an individual. That is correct, and even the Pope, like I think the not that one, but the one that no, that I think was that one, or maybe Benedictus. Even one of his quotes that his favorite quotes is that he said that for a person that doesn't believe in God to act like in a moral way is even like it's show even greater virtue. And I have said many times that many people around the world, whether they grew up in like in non classically monotheistic environments, or maybe they they grew up like in monotheistic environments, but they consider themselves atheists. Many people act by nature and most critically by their nurture, by their education, as if there is a God. They always act as if someone is watching them, and they always have the fear in a good way that someone is watching, and so they need to be not to do immoral stuff. So these kind of people, they act as if they believe in God, even though, I mean, if you ask them, they will say that they don't believe in God. So, I mean, acting as if you believe in God is more important even than believing in God. I mean, of course, I mean, you should believe in God because it's true, but, I mean, the most important thing is to act in accordance with, I mean, believing in God, which first of all, and above all, I mean, it means that, I mean, above everything, it means, I mean, you should, I mean, not, I mean, as I mean, it's an as written in regarding Babylon I mean in Ezekiel, how do you pronounce it? I mean that, I mean, En Ro'ani, no one sees me. Like, I mean, I have my magics and I have my like all my power, and no one sees me. This En Ro'ani, this is the most, like, is the source of all cruelty, and or much of the of cruelty. I mean, the idea that you I mean, and every piece of shit in Israel acts this way. Not only people in the intelligence community, of course, they are. I mean, they think that they are above everything, but and this is I mean, this kind of vanity is really the root of, like, all evil or most evil. Like, you think that, I mean, there is nothing above you, and you act like, I mean, so, and if you think no one sees you, you can do whatever you want, including cannibalism and rape, and, I mean, children, theft of children, and everything that you see it Israelis are do now, and not only 100 years ago, but also, I mean, right now. But, I mean, God asks you for so little. I mean, He asks you, stop being Nazis, stop enslaving and eating and subjugating, like, sentient beings, things that are so basic. And even that, I mean, you don't listen. So God gives you, like, I mean, so the messenger is showing you, like, I mean, symbolic representation. So you will be able to link the representation to the actual things that you see in Earth. So we will say, okay, so the asteroids and the radiation, I mean, it's because we are Nazis, so maybe we should need to stop being Nazis. But that's not what Israel said. They say, people in Israel say, I mean, okay, so we need to stop the guy from, I mean, creating a symbolic arts. Because naturally, that's the way to stop the calamities. I mean, and really, I mean, Homo sapiens, even 100,000 years ago, they already had religion. I mean, and they were smarter than that. How can you explain it? I don't know. And of course, people all around the world, I mean, what they do when they see this brutality and cruelty, and that is aimed, like, towards the messenger, towards me, they move their mouses and tongues, of course, mouses and tongues, which is a shame. I can tell you that I never thought that I will be subjected to such humiliation in my life, and I've said it even, like, more than a year ago. Like, I mean, with my vanity, like, I mean, I had, like, a moment of weakness. Like, I was, like, alone in the desert. I never wanted to circumstances, and I said, God, for me, give me. I want, like, to compare, to, like, hold a small comparison between me and Jesus Christ. Like, I mean, I don't think that I'm that I'm in his level, of course, but I mean, let's compare. Like, and I've done a comparison, and one of the, I mean, the key, like, conclusions for my comparison is I think that in the parameter of, like, humiliation, I think that, I mean, I managed to, I mean, surpass even JC himself, because, I mean, you will not believe, like, how like, the level of humiliation that I'm, like, I'm subjected to all my life, and it's only going more and more nasty from every piece of shit in Israel, from the most, I mean, the scum of the earth, the people that I'm, really, I mean, like, walking on mebas, and everybody, I mean, humiliate me in ways that you can't even imagine. Really, I mean, if you live abroad, you can't even imagine. It's only getting worse and worse. So now, I mean, you know, I have no money at all, and the government, I mean, and no bank account, which was, I mean, by the way, classical punishment for Titan and Titan females even up until today. And so I asked my mother, like, to bring me stuff, like, a little bit of money until, I mean, I'll be able to arrange, because I have money in, like, funds, but I cannot withdraw because of course, the banks in Israel are all, I mean, you know, under the boot of the government, of course, the state. So I asked my mother, like, in email, like, to bring me, a little bit of money, and most importantly, like, my scientific stuff, and, like, I mean, tools that are my property, not her property. Most importantly, of course, the microscope, but the slides and other stuff as well. So, I mean, I was surprised to see that, I mean, she answered that she will do it. Of course, yes, of course, and I was so happy. But of course, I mean, today, I mean, you can see that she bought nothing, like, at all, not the microscope, and nothing, any tool at all, no money at all. I mean, she just bought, like, I mean, like, canned food, and that, I guess she don't need in the house. She doesn't need, and I mean, out of like, pasta and things like that, which, is not that important, even though I should say thanks for anything because I have nothing. I rely on like charity food. And she also bought like toilet paper, which is the only thing that she bought, which is, apart from like canned and dry food. And I guess, excuse me for being skeptic. It's because, you know that, that's, their currency. They still think that I'm going to give them my semen after ejaculations on toilet paper and put it like outside, so they will be able to like acquire it the same that they've done until now. So up until now, even when they see, the earth is destroyed because of the action, they still continue like nothing happened. And of course, it's humiliation because, especially because, I thought, okay, maybe I will be able to actually, advance in my in my research, which is the only thing that I can do, and also maybe, I don't know, have some money. But of course, I will never have any money in Israel. I need to be, the lowest of the lowest, which is, it's another humiliation, and every such humiliation affects you in a way. It's not that you don't get immune to humiliation. Even that, you get, so much is directed towards you, like all your life, like for everyone, it's only getting worse. But still, every humiliation is kind of like a jab of the dagger. Yes. So yes, yeah, I will not. I will be able to continue with my studies in the most like really like basic way because I ran out of even like things like sellotape or like very basic like screws and things like that. But I'll do whatever I can. Of course, needless to say, if they think like my mother and their operators that, maybe they think, in their unbelievably primitive line of sight, so thinking that, if we will not like, we will not, we will not have like access to like tools at all and like materials, so we will not be able to create like those like voodoo sculptures that bring us the calamities. And it's, of course, it's ridiculous. I could and I've said it before. Even if you put me like locked, like in an isolated cell in a dungeon, I would be able to. Just from the dust or like remnants of food, I will be able to. To create like an artistic representation of a calamity. It will be ridiculous because no one will see it, and why? It's the important stuff is that it will be that you can convey to other people. Now it is true, and that many times, what I do, most certainly, if it's initially, it was mostly like paintings that, they had the signified things, but they also, I try to insert my own like interpretation and my artistic worldview into the paintings. And now when it's more like constructions such as this one, so many times it's got more both like symbolic meaning and also some kind of functional meaning, like how you to produce stuff using the neos. And the reason for that is, it's the hand of God. God, there is no other explanation because God. Sometimes it's something that I understand when I'm doing like preparing like the symbolic thing and or the like functional thing, like construction, and understand. Like while I'm doing that, it serves the dual purpose, but sometimes only in retrospective I understand it. But of course, it's the way that God. It's like a touch of providence. And it's part of it is. God. He showed me mercy because he knows how like in what like mentally like low place I am. I cannot. I have no contact with my daughters. I have no friends like long ago, and my family. My family. They are all. They all like. Judas Iscariot, and So the only thing that they can do is actually. Do like my research and my constructions, and so by serving like a functional like objective, it brings me like more like a little bit more of incentive to actually do it, than if it was only meant for like symbolic reasons. And I needed incentive because, as I said, it's very easy to just like drawn to a incarcerated person mode, which is lethargic and these things that you can see in jail a lot. People just sleep all day and things like that. So it's easy to get into it, but I don't want to. Then of course the fact that that constructions serve dual purpose, not only the symbolic one but also some kind of a functional one. It's give me a little bit of if not joys, then a little bit like energy, which I actually really desperately need. I don't know if yeah, so I mean, the Israelis think, I mean, let's prevent him for like doing these things, and so we will not get like the punishments from God, which I don't even know what to say about it. Besides the fact that, I mean, I'm here, like, I mean, I'm close to 40 years that I'm like here on earth, like I'm human, like all of you, and I grew up, you know, I read like a lot of classical literature, and I think that I understand like human beings, like, and not less than the average Joe. But I mean, I cannot, like, there are things that you see in Israel I just can't explain, like, especially when it comes from the people that, I mean, control the state and I mean, indirectly control much of the fate of the earth. So I mean, or the destiny, or I mean, of the earth. So I mean, these kind of people are actually think that, I mean, they can like win, like I mean, they can KO God like in a match by, I mean, by like torturing the messenger in a way that, I mean, was deemed barbaric even like by ancient cultures. But I mean, that's the way it is. That's the way it is. And it's sad, but at that point, I'm like, I know I sustain the humiliation, and you know, I have thought the toilet paper, I mean, something I never thought that, I mean, even during like the whole, like the many years of humiliation that's only getting worse, I never thought that I will be, I mean, I never imagined myself in a situation where, like, I'm so happy that I actually got like toilet paper from, like, so I'd be able to literally wipe my ass. But yeah, it's cool, but that's the way it is. Of course, I mean, if I conducted this research in a previous like time, I mean, not only the research that they do now, but also the research that I conducted in my mother's apartment, which was also very limited, because, like, I mean, I was under arrest there, and I didn't have money there as well, and also there, I mean, I was actually always subjected to like physical torture and a lot of like torture from the neighbors, and so it was in many ways it was even harder there. But I mean, so it was very hard there, and it's very hard now. If I like connect all these rituals like previously, like in like many periods of my life when like I had money and like my own apartment, rented apartment, of course, and people torture me as well then. But I mean, if I have done it like then, I mean, I could have like advance in a much quicker way, even though with the help of God, I mean, it's already very quick, but I mean, with a lot of help, Siyata Deshmaya. But I mean, I spend so much time, you know, just, I mean, circumventing the condition that, I mean, I lack like basic materials like plier or cutter or like such, I mean, or candle, or like simple candles that I don't have enough. So I mean, and I spend so much, like, I mean, I can spend like half a day just, I mean, bypassing a ridiculous like material limitation that it's unbelievable that a person that conducts research on things that, I mean, are so important and so interesting, and also, I mean, like, potentially they could have, like, in another scenario where humans are not Nazis, it could like benefit humanity, like a new industrial revolution. And this person like had to like to spend so much time on how to deal with the fact that he has no, like, I mean, aluminum foil or screwdriver or basic stuff that, I mean, costs nothing. And this is not just, I mean, it's not a coincidence, and it's not something that, it's not like an ironic poetic like justice or ironic condition that, I mean, God in his cleverness make happen. It's something that it happens because the Israelis wanted to be that way. They want me to be humiliated, and they want me not to have any research because they want to eat the stuff as they've done until now. As I said, even if they only want to eat it, actually, I mean, if they told me everything about myself like a long ago, and they allowed me to conduct research and not like keep me in coop and under torture, I mean, quickly I would have found out what I've already found out, that, I mean, you can actually, I can actually multiply the neurons outside my body, which, I mean, would solve so many problems for the Israelis if they insist on eating them, which is immoral in the first place. And as I've said, everyone that eats those things, I mean, will be punished. So let's speak about, like, I mean, we've already spoke about the asteroids, which, I mean, have the iron core, as you understand. And there is this thing here, which this is the silver one. It signified like my body, and perhaps also the Titans. As I said, I don't know if Titans like what's the color code of Titans, because it wasn't like very important for me. And of course we we have the red one. The red one until now contained worms, but now I will soon, very soon, I will end like the curse of the worms that you already seen. But now, very soon, I will switch to the new stage where so as you see, as you know, there are several ways. There are several ways to symbolize it's a very complicated issue, the issue of communication. So there are several ways, like to construct to organize like a symbolic construction that represent like a curse. But one of the most one of the tools I would say is to have like two adjacent backgrounds. Mostly it's the black background is used and adjacent, but one is like higher than is placed higher, like you see here. So this is the compartment, and now you have this here there are it's an old candle beeswax, and I placed like the Nero juice on it. So it was actually built. It was melted like in a canister, so it's very comfortable, and it's placed on top of the black background, which symbolizes nothing. If there is nothing else on it, there is the candle, but the candle, and I don't know if it symbolizes that the people of the with red blood. I also have red blood, but it signifies the Homo sapiens here on Earth. That they've ate the Neros and have them on their body will not only have like the worms, but will also be punished. By God Himself when they will meet Him, which will be sooner than they thought. I should say that regarding the candles, it's not ordinary candles. It's Nero candles with Nero placed on them for some time to enrich it, and it's what I use. It's something that we've seen like a long time ago. It's not new, but it's something that I use on the two containers, like the red one and the silver one, like my own container and the red container. These two containers, they do not require like electricity because the Neros like in it do not actually like do the work. The Neros they do the work are the ones that in my body or your body is supposed that you have eaten them, and so it's not that you need to supply like energy, but you need to have like to conduct like something symbolic that will like both will symbolize what's like that is it that you are acting. You do work, so like you consume energy, and also it should it's creates like a boundary, like a time lapse for the curse or the calamity, which is very important for many like curses or blessings. And this is another thing that I spoke about in the past. And actually, you can actually even define the time lapse in the paintings, such as this one. And it's a long subject. Maybe I've spoken about it in Twitter, not in YouTube. So maybe I'll repeat myself like sometimes. Everything that regarding communication is very interesting, and it's like actually it's all those things. I started to deal with them long before I started to actually hold the research on the Neros. As you understand, there is a symbol. I've used the symbolic language with my painting. Starting like a year and a half ago, and it was always some an issue that I spoke about like in my podcast and blogging, like the symbolic language, and I imagine that it's something that it is between me and like the spaceships that the hand of God, like the material from a materialistic point of view, the hand of God. But also, it's used for the communication with the Neros. And like the nanobots Neros. So you can actually represent like duration, but you need like to if you do you either like you do blessing or curses. You need to bound it with time. So it's not something that you just you forget like in your room or something like that. With the bound like container, it's something that is like constructing in its place. So it's bounded by but either they don't have like the raw material or energy or other conditions that they cannot continue, which happens a lot because they don't really I'm beginner in this whole new science, or they finished like creating the object, and they don't. I mean, and you didn't tell them to create more than one, so that's it. But for the two like symbolic ones, the silver and the red ones, you need like a time lapse. So the candles, I mean, the enriched candles, I mean, are like time lapse. And also we should say that Neros die in the process, because the enriched Neros, I mean, I don't have a way to actually extract the Neros out of the candle. So when I light it, I mean, the Neros are there, and I mean, they are dead because, I mean, it burns them. So it's kind of like, I don't know, you can see it as a sacrifice, but anyway, it's like an investment in the curse or the blessing. So yeah, we'll start with that very soon. Yes, more stuff. So regarding this one, the container with the electrolysis, so it's actually, I mean, the plastic is it's very difficult to actually, I mean, seal it. So I still like, and you know, I have nothing. I mean, I don't now. I mean, I ran out of glue, so I used glue and just a little bit of candle wax now, and I try to seal it, so I'll not have what I had yesterday, which, I mean, that all liquids just, I mean, that mostly include pee, just, I mean, just leaked out. And I have decided, I mean, that to have like a little bit, I mean, I'm not sure I will actually use five parallel circuits. Maybe I'll use at maximum 3. I think 5 is too much now. Maybe I'll use 3, and maybe I'll even start with 1. What I want to actually test now is, I mean, what I'll do is that I will not put the wire inside the liquid, because it's quickly erodes. Even yesterday I've seen it, and so instead I'll do something that is very standard in electrolysis, and I've already done it myself, which I will use the wire, and I mean, for one circuit, direct DC circuits, or 3 or 5, most probably 1 or 3. But I mean, the object which will actually, I mean, touch the liquid is a screw, and not just any kind of screw, but a screw that was, I mean, that spent some time, and actually we can see it now. 2 screws. I will start with 2 screws, and I mean, each circuit requires like 1 more, because, I mean, as I explained, like, I mean, only one is attached to, I mean, to the positive rod, and I mean, all the others are in parallel attached to the negative one, and this creates like the number of, according to like parallel circuits. So I mean, it's enriched by, I mean, taking a dive in a small pool of Nero juice that is stored in this in the Nutella jar. I don't remember if I spoke about the Nutella jar, but I have like a pretty big, like, I mean, a container of Neros with that is placed inside the Nutella jar with all sorts of like voodoo stuff in it. And lamentably I cannot like test if, I mean, what has become of it, because I don't have the microscope. But it seemed to me that I mean, because there are many like metal stuff in there, it seemed to me that it's the right like material to actually, I mean, to be soaked, for the screw to be soaked in. And I don't know what it will do. I mean, I hope that they will. I don't even know how to measure it, but that they will improve in this parameter or the other, the state of the metallic screws, so they will not erode quickly in the liquid. And also, I mean, we want them, of course, to be as, I think that we want them to be as conductive as possible. But you can, I mean, arguably, yeah, I think that, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that, I mean, we will want, I mean, the screw to be as conductive as possible. We don't want, I mean, to lose, like, I mean, to lose like energy, I mean, on like resistors that we don't need, like in the circuit, and maybe they'll do it as well. So I will soon, and while I will take it out of this pool, and I will create, I mean, I'll work on this container. There's still work to be done, because, I mean, the plastic is really, I mean, reliable things that I find in the heap of like garbage outside. So, I mean, you don't always have everything that you need. And regarding magnetism, so I've thought about it a little bit, and so there is like a couple of like, I mean, like small adjustment that I thought about. Like, I will use 5 rods, And initially I thought about like I thought that I need to place that it's best to place them like standing in like in a circle, like in a hollow circle. So that way, and since they are wrapped this way, like horizontally, like in parallel to the ground. So the according to the law, like the right-hand law, the magnetic field will be created like towards like in one direction, which is up, and what up, but from the ground up. And I thought that it's best to put like the container that I prepared for this matter, this container that's mostly made of pea, but also semen and little bit of the black juice, the Nutella juice, and a little bit of like iodine, but mostly pea, because that's the stuff that is much easy. There is a limit to how much I can masturbate, and it's not even that fun. Like when you're borderline depressed all the time. So yeah, semen and pea, and so that's kind of like I've adjusted like a like black pepper container for this, and I think that it will roughly be the size or the radius of each of the 5 magnets. Taking into account the wire that I have there, which I took out of the existing like the one big magnet. So as I thought about like putting it in the middle. So the magnetic field will be from like that. Like this, from the bottom up. But I've adjusted the idea. Now I think that it's better that I will create. That I do the 5 rods in like in a tight formation where there is like 4 like in 4 like sides and 1 in the middle. Like something like that. Something like that. And these are actually the screws that I will use. So why do what they do now? Why didn't I put them in their place and started? Because yes, you guessed correctly. I thought like maybe we need to to enrich them as well. So yeah, so I didn't soak them on like on like the juice, but I've used like I had like a little a small like container which is now empty, and I washed it because I spent everything. This is like this container contained like almost all like 100% semen, so it's like the most like concentrated container. It was nothing in there, but because I used every drop for these 5 rods, so I placed like a big drop on like couple of big drops on each of the screws, and this is the most like concentrated. It was, now it's just empty. Maybe I'll work like on replenish it later today. So it's not soaked, but it's like it's like a good amount of news, and hopefully they work on it as well. I don't really know what I expect them to do, because I'm not sure what do we want it. The objective is to create like a strong magnetic field as possible, of course. But what's the properties of the metal which will give us this desired effect? I do know that there are also of consideration, but anyway, let's do their jobs, and maybe we will be surprised and maybe not. Anyway, the idea now is to place the container above the 5 rods. So still the magnetic field will be from the bottom up, but it will give us more like flexibility in maybe using other containers, not this one specifically. I've chosen that one because it's relatively thin. You need like it's very important. Like, so both the containers and the magnets will be as thin as possible, because as I've said, the coil is the wire loses a lot of its effectiveness by strengthening the field as it's like getting far away from the center. And that is also true about like the where you place the container in relation to where the actual gravity magnetic field exists. So and so I need to think of like a way to actually construct it, like maybe a thin layer of plastic or something like that, I don't know, so above the 5 like magnets, and so it will be like 2 floors, 2 layers, and above it will be a plastic container, and this will allow me to use other containers as well. And so I think that's it for now. I'm not sure, like, I mean, where do you stand, like, with regards to like knowledge of the asteroids? And again, I don't know who are you, like, I mean, who are, I mean, you could be also people all over the world and with different telescopes and like and cooperation with other intelligence services. So in any way, I mean, it's not one. If you like, if you like detected one and you're in the process of like trying to think, I mean, is it going to I mean, is this guy, like, I mean, is it going to actually, I mean, hit Earth or not? And like start, like, if you start, like, I mean, using too much computers and I mean, not enough like brain and heart, which is it's a problem, because I mean, don't use, I mean, the computers will not help you much, because you will soon see that it's not one, it's actually 5. And if you have 5 like a director on your way, I mean, it's much more probable that 5 will all hit you than that 1 will hit you, because I mean, if it's 1, you can say, no, it's just a coincidence, it will miss us. But I mean, if it's 5, you understand that, I mean, it's the hand of God or a very superior technological species. That doesn't really matter for that, I mean, for this, in this context. So I mean, if they send 5 to hit you, they are not going to miss. I have in my paintings several like impact maps, which, I mean, could be of some benefit, but I mean, the most benefit will be, I mean, currently I think that the most benefit will be gained, I mean, by stop using your mouses and tongues and start using your legs and arms to run to Israel and to rescue me and my daughters from this Nazi prison.